Alright, let's talk about the trolley problem. You know the one. There's a runaway trolley hurtling down a track, completely out of control. Ahead, 5 unfortunate souls are tied to this track, blissfully unaware of their impending doom, or perhaps very aware and justifiably terrified. You, lucky you, are standing by a lever. Pull the lever, and the trolley switches to a different track. The catch? There's one person tied to that track. So, do you pull it? Do you sacrifice one to save 5? It's presented as a classic moral quandary, a real head-scratcher for philosophers. But honestly, doesn't it already feel a bit off? Like a game where all the options are rubbish? The solution most people land on, or at least the one that gets nodded along to in ethics classes, is to pull the lever. Yes, it's awful for that one person, truly terrible, but 5 lives are saved. It's utilitarianism, isn't it? The greatest good for the greatest number. Sounds perfectly logical, like something a Vulcan might come up with if they were having a particularly bad day. But even as you say it, there's that lingering feeling of unease. You've actively chosen to end a life, albeit to save others. It's not a clean win, it's a messy compromise, a choice between 2 deeply unappealing outcomes. It forces you into the role of judge, jury, and, well, executioner by proxy. Then, to make things even more delightful, they throw in variations, like the Fat Man scenario. Same runaway trolley, same 5 people. This time, you're on a bridge overlooking the track, standing next to a rather large gentleman. The only way to stop the trolley is to push him onto the tracks below. The maths is identical, 1 life for 5. But suddenly it feels vastly different, doesn't it? More visceral, more direct. Pushing someone feels more like murder than pulling a lever. This highlights that the problem isn't just about cold, hard numbers, it's designed to poke at our emotions and our sense of direct responsibility, ensuring there's no comfortable answer. But here's the crucial bit, the part they don't always shout about in Philosophy 101. The trolley problem isn't just an abstract thought experiment, oh no. It's a perfect, if rather grim, metaphor for how many of the big choices in our lives are framed. It's about presenting us with an unavoidable binary. Option A, bad, or option B, also bad, but maybe slightly less so. And critically, someone somewhere is always the one setting up these tracks, tying down the metaphorical people, and then, with a shrug, handing us the lever, as if we're the only ones who can sort it out. We need to start asking who these track layers are, and what their game really is. So, why do we so often grit our teeth and pull that lever for the lesser evil? Well, it's a masterful bit of framing, isn't it? We're told it's the responsible choice, the only sensible path. The alternative, doing nothing, is painted as allowing the greater evil to triumph, as if our inaction alone would unleash unspeakable horrors. It's a clever psychological trick, leveraging our fear and our desire to not be the one responsible for the absolute worst-case scenario. They present one outcome as so catastrophically awful that the other, merely dreadful option, starts to look almost like a sensible compromise. It's like being offered a plate of spiders or a plate of angry wasps. You might pick the spiders, but you're not happy about it. Think about elections, for goodness sake. Candidate A is a disaster, a walking embodiment of everything you despise. Candidate B is, well, also a bit of a shambles, really. But perhaps their brand of awfulness is marginally less offensive, or so the narrative goes. The media, the pundits, even your well-meaning but panicked friends, all scream that failing to vote for candidate B is practically an endorsement of candidate A's impending reign of terror. So, with a heavy heart and a pegged nose, we trudge to the polls and pick our preferred flavor of disappointment. We're caught in this endless cycle of reluctantly settling for not quite as catastrophically bad, and it's exhausting. This lesser evil logic isn't just confined to the grand stage of politics, it worms its way into our everyday shopping habits too. This enormous corporation might have questionable labor practices, but that other one, well, their carbon footprint is slightly smaller, so perhaps they're the better choice. This fast fashion brand churns out clothes that fall apart after 3 washes and contributes to landfill mountains, but it's so cheap, and the ethically sourced, locally made alternative costs an arm and a leg. We're constantly navigating this ethical minefield, trying to make the least worst decision, feeling a bit guilty no matter what we choose. It's like being asked to pick your favorite disease. The true insidious genius of the lesser evil strategy is how effectively it diverts blame. It shifts the focus entirely onto our difficult decision, our moral anguish, at the lever. We become so consumed by the immediate, awful choice in front of us that we completely forget to ask the more important questions. Why is this blasted trolley out of control in the first place? Who tied these poor people to the tracks, and why are we the ones being forced to make this impossible decision? The responsibility is cleverly offloaded onto us, the unwilling participants, while the architects of the crisis remain comfortably in the shadows. Right, let's pull back the curtain, shall we? Who are these mysterious figures? These architects of our anguish, meticulously setting up these no-win scenarios. It's rarely a single cackling villain in a smoky room, though that would be dramatically convenient. More often, it's systems, entrenched institutions, and powerful interest groups that benefit enormously from us feeling perpetually trapped between a rock and a hard place. Political parties, for instance, are quite keen on you feeling like you have no choice but to pick one of their pre-approved candidates, even if both options make you want to emigrate. Corporations, similarly, want your money, and limiting your choices to their products is a rather effective business model. They construct these false dichotomies, these trolley problems, because it's an incredibly effective way to maintain their power and control over the narrative. If we're constantly bogged down arguing about whether to pull the lever for bad option A or bad option B, we're not spending any time or energy demanding good option C, D, or even a radically different transport system altogether. It preserves the status quo, keeping the existing structures firmly in place. It's a brilliant tactic for managing public discontent. Offer two slightly different shades of beige, and people will passionately debate which beige is superior, rather than asking why they can't have, say, a vibrant, shocking pink. The concept of the greater evil is their most potent weapon in this charade. They conjure up, or sometimes just dramatically exaggerate, a truly terrifying alternative. Think, if you don't vote for us, the sky will fall, puppies will cease to be cute, and all your favorite biscuits will be discontinued. Then, they present their own, merely unpalatable policies as the only sane, responsible bulwark against this impending doom. Yes, they'll concede, our plan to tax oxygen might seem a bit harsh, but look at the other lot. They want to replace all music with a continuous loop of a dial-up modem. It's pure misdirection, a conjurer's trick to make their own significant failings appear trivial by comparison. And here's the rub. Every time we sigh, hold our noses, and pull that lever for the lesser evil, we are, in a small but significant way, validating the rigged game. We become complicit in a system that only offers us bad choices. The burden of guilt for the outcome, even if it's the least bad outcome, still settles squarely on our shoulders. We were the ones who made the call, even if the call was forced upon us. It's a disturbingly effective way to diffuse responsibility away from those who actually designed the trap, leaving us to carry the can for their cynical machinations. So, if pulling the lever for the lesser evil just keeps this merry-go-round of misery spinning, what's the alternative? What if, and bear with me here, we just didn't pull the lever? What if we took a step back from the tracks, folded our arms, and refused to play their rotten game? Now, this is often portrayed as the height of irresponsibility, as naively allowing the absolute worst to happen. You have to choose, they shriek, but is it truly irresponsible? Or could it be, in fact, the only genuinely moral stance in a system designed to corrupt our choices? It's a radical thought, I know. Sometimes the most powerful, most disruptive act is one of conscious non-participation. Refusing to choose between two pre-selected, deeply flawed options sends an unambiguous message. Neither of these is good enough. We demand better. We deserve better. It's not about apathy or sticking your head in the sand. It's an active, critical rejection of the premise itself. It's looking at the rigged lever and saying, no thank you. I'm not going to be your unwilling accomplice in this charade. Fix the brakes on your bloody trolley and untie those people, then we can talk. It's about fundamentally challenging the setup. Consider the implications. If a significant number of voters consistently refuse to endorse either lesser evil candidate, if they spoiled their ballots or voted for genuinely alternative voices in protest, political parties might eventually be forced to offer something or someone actually inspiring. If enough consumers systematically boycotted brands that rely on exploitation or environmental destruction, those brands would face a stark choice: change their ways or watch their profits evaporate. Walking away from the lever isn't an act of surrender. It's a strategic move to change the very terms of engagement, to reclaim some agency from those who rig the game. Ultimately, the trolley problem, as it's dished up to us in real life, is less a philosophical puzzle and more a sophisticated tool of manipulation. It's engineered to narrow our vision, to corral our thinking, and to make us complicit in accepting unacceptable realities. The real ethical challenge isn't about deciding which unfortunate soul to sacrifice. It's about recognizing the con, identifying the con artists, and summoning the courage to dismantle their rigged system, or at the very least, to refuse to be a cog in their machine. So, the next time you're presented with two terrible options and told you must choose, just perhaps tell them to sort out their own mess. Think for yourself, don't just pick their poison.